Thank you, Jeff, for offering me this honor, and thanks to all of you for supporting this marvelous event. In his introduction to the book Uneven Lies, Pete McDaniel sums up the importance of gatherings like this in one simple sentence. He said, "The souls of African-American golf pioneers cry for someone to tell their story." The three people who will be inducted tonight have done much to warrant having their stories told. On behalf of all of us here at Golf Channel, I'd like to personally express my joy in sharing their stories with you. So let's get started. Our first inductee is the late Ann Gregory, who many have said is the greatest black female golfer in history, winning over 300 tournaments in a career that spanned 5 decades.
I think that Ann Gregory's legacy really is one of being a groundbreaker, being a barrier breaker, because she was the first African-American female to play in a USGA event, and that was way back in the 1960s. So she certainly did open a lot of doors for African Americans and for women in the industry and the, I think, tournaments.
I was fortunate to know Ann Gregory both as a competitor in women's amateur golf in the early 1960s and later when I was working on my book on the history of women's golf. I knew the book wouldn't be complete unless I talked to Ann Gregory. So we spent several hours talking about her life. Ann Gregory was the first black player in the U.S. Women's Amateur Championship. It was in 1956. The suit, Brown versus the Board of Education, had just passed, and it was a time of great racial strife in this country. Ann was under tremendous pressure playing in the 1956 Women's Amateur, but so was her opponent, Carolyn Cadone, a white woman. And Carolyn later told me that when she arrived at the golf course to play Ann, that the parking attendant told her, "You'd better win that match or don't come back to this club."
The National Black Golf Hall of Fame recognizes the majesty and grace of Ann Gregory. The title Queen of Negro Golf will be bestowed upon her in 1950, and rightfully so considering her achievements. Born in Aberdeen, Mississippi in 1912, Ann moved to Gary, Indiana in 1930, where she stayed with her older sister. While living in Indiana, she quickly took up the game of tennis, and by 1937 she had won the Gary City Championship. A short year later, she married avid golfer Percy Gregory. It would be his love for the game that would ultimately lead Ann to the fields of green and help cement her status in black sports history. What began as an obstacle to their time together soon evolved into a way to pass the time when Percy was drafted into the Navy. By 1945, Ann was hailed as a natural athlete and was receiving instructions from pro golfer Calvin Ingram. She finished second in her first tournament at the 8th Annual Chicago Women's Golf Club. After winning several black-only tournaments, including the UGA, Ann was invited to play in Chicago's Tam O'Shanter tournament, where she stood out as the only African-American woman on the golf course. She set a record in 1948 by winning the first of 5 Chicago Women's Gold Club Championships. In 1950, she won 6 of the 7 tournaments she entered and was crowned Queen of the Golfing Kingdom. During a time of segregation, Ann recognized in order to improve her game, she would have to move beyond the circuit of black golfers, and that is exactly what she did. With the help of her husband, the Chicago Women's Golf Club, and many others, the club applied for membership with the USGA. By 1956, her club had become the first African-American organization to join the USGA, allowing her to play in the Meridian Hills Country Club in Indianapolis, Indiana, where she became the first African-American to play in the USGA's Women Amateur National Championship. Ann's pioneering career spanned 5 decades and won over 300 golf tournaments from around the world. She even played with noted celebrities such as Jackie Robinson and Joe Louis. She handled racism as well as she did the fairways, and took a stand where she could. In her home, she broke the color barrier by demanding to play the full 18-hole layout at the South Gleason Golf Course. In 1996, she would be memorialized by the granite marker erected at the 6th hole there in her honor. She was quoted as once saying, "Racism is only in the mind. It's something you look over or you look at it." In 1989, at the age of 76 and mourning the loss of her husband, Ann won the gold medal in the U.S. National Senior Olympics against a field of 50 women, many a quarter century younger than her. It would be the last time she stepped on the greens. We honor her, we salute her, and we remember the indelible imprint she left on life and in the game. The National Black Golf Hall of Fame welcomes Miss Ann Moore Gregory to its class of 2012.
Greetings to all assembled here on this very special occasion. My name is Joanne Gregory Overstreet, daughter of Anne Gregory, in honor of the memory of the founder of the National Black Golf Hall of Fame, Mr. Hal Donovan, current members of the Board of Directors and past members. My family and I would like to express our sincere appreciation for inducting my mother into this praiseworthy Hall of Fame, class of 2012. It is truly an honor. Also, I want to express my deepest appreciation to John Simpson for keeping me in the loop on how things were going to be handled for this very special occasion, and also having the chance again to see Congressman Jim Clyburn, who, along with Congressman Benny Thompson, played in our inaugural Anne Gregory Memorial Scholarship Golf Tournament in Las Vegas some years ago, as he mentioned earlier. We were able to give over 50 to 60 scholarships to deserving high school students during that time. With me tonight are family members Piper, Jason, and Torrance. Renee, it is great seeing you. I think the last time I saw you was when you came to visit my mother in Gary to play golf. Thank you. Not present tonight, Dr. Calvin Sinnett. Thanks for noting my mother's contribution in golf in his book, Forbidden Fairways, and Dr. Miguel Johnson for allowing me to write the foreword in her book, The African American Woman Golfer, where she also noted my mother's contributions. The mission of the National Black Golf Hall of Fame is to celebrate and honor the history and achievements of African American golfers, and those who support the mission, regardless of race, is most plausible. While it is understood my mother's Hall of Fame induction is primarily based on her athletic prowess in winning over 300 tournaments worldwide over a 5-decade career, winning a gold medal in the Senior Olympics, the love and support of my father, a veteran of World War II, was very important for her as well. My father was a golfer before entering the service. This was about the time my mother started bundling me up, heading for the golf course to just pass the time away. But by the time my father was honorably discharged, my mother was able to eat his lunch. While my family is proud of her athletic achievements, we are equally proud of her pioneering achievements in the area of civil rights and community service. Being the first person of color to play in the United States Golf Association, the USGA, was great. It was also great that my mother was the first person of color to serve on the library board in her hometown of Gary, Indiana. It was great for Arthur Ashe to note in his 3-volume chronicle of African Americans in sports, Hard Road to Glory, that many hailed Anne Gregory as the best African American female golfer of the 20th century. Mr. Ashe was quoted saying, "No one else was a close second." It was also great that Anne Gregory was the first person of color to be appointed to the board of the Community United Fund, resulting in increasing the funding for programs serving Gary's minority neighborhoods. Upon my mother's passing, it was stated, Anne was a breath of fresh air and an inspiration to golfers and anyone else who might otherwise have been afraid to face new frontiers. Writer Rhonda Glenn, who is present tonight, in a lengthy Sports Illustrated magazine article, Playing Through Racial Barriers, wrote, Anne Gregory cherished and honored the game of golf. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for bestowing this honor on a champion golfer, a civil rights leader, and a community service volunteer, Ann Gregory, a wife, a loving mother, a loving grandmother, a great grandmother, and a friend to many. Thank you.